So supervised and unsupervised learning means, okay, in supervised learning, what happens? We already have some labels with us. For example, suppose let's say I'm saying ki, let's say you're giving an exam. Okay, you gave an exam. Okay, and I'm checking those exams. Then I'm telling you that okay, what went wrong, what went good, what went bad. Okay, in the exam, where was your mistake and everything. I'm telling you where your code was good. Okay, your logic was correct. Okay, that I'm telling you. Okay, that is basically your supervised learning. Okay, supervised learning means the learning that happens under supervision. Okay, we already have someone who can tell us what is right or what is wrong. Okay, there is some kind of test involved. That is called as supervised learning. In unsupervised learning, there is no test involved. We just learn. Okay, I will give you some, for example, assignments. Okay, so I'm not sure whether assignment they are giving you the solutions, right? So assignment is basically your unsupervised learning. Okay, for example, let me give an example of unsupervised learning. For example, let's say you go to a party, okay, or wherever you go to a friend's house, okay, and what happens automatically based on different criteria, our brain divides different people in the party in different categories, right? Suppose you go to a marriage, okay, so first criteria will be, for example, male, female, okay, young or old, or children, okay, or maybe you will do, let's say based on, let's say, rich or poor, okay, based on well dressed or poorly dressed, okay, maybe difference, you will categorize them on the basis of, let's say, uh, mature, immature, okay, uh, maybe from boys side, from girl side, okay. So basically we divide people, okay, automatically on different criteria, right? Categorize them, not divide, sorry, we categorize them. Okay, we don't know whether our categorization is correct or not. Okay, that is basically your unsupervised learning. Got this task, everyone? Okay, I'm giving you some basic idea. All of you understood EDA? Basically, yours that simple, right? Right, Rahil? Okay, when you say EDA, so EDA is basically exploratory data analysis. What happens when we do machine learning, okay, or data analysis also in general. So when we talk about data analysis class, so EDA is the last final step of data analysis, and it is the first step of machine learning. Okay, what happens in case of EDA? As the name suggests, exploratory data analysis. What we do inside this, we basically study a particular given data end to end. Okay, and we try to understand what that data is trying to tell us. Okay, what is a pattern, what is a trend, okay, what is the maximum value, what is the minimum value, how the data is looking like, okay, what the graph is, okay, if it how which kind of distribution the graph is following, okay, where the data is more concentrated, what is the median value, what is the most occurring value, what is the mean value, okay, how mean, median, mode are basically like distributed along the entire axis. Okay, so basically in EDA we study all these different factors. Why? In order to understand our data. Okay, see, saying now. By doing this, you can get to know whether the selected features are good enough to model. Are all the features even required or not? Okay, are there any correlations between them based on which we can either go back to the data pre-processing step or we can go move on to modeling. Okay, so that is all basically comes under your EDA. All of you understood this by this example also, no? We do this now whenever we go to like some trip or something. Okay, so basically model means somewhere machine learning code. So whenever we go to trip or something, we basically analyze, right? We analyze different things. We basically we search for reviews, okay, on the internet. We search for reviews on multiple websites. Okay, we ask our friends, okay, relatives, or whoever has gone to that particular. Suppose let's say I'm saying I want to go to Manali. Okay, so whoever is going to Manali in my friend circle or my relatives or family, okay, I will ask them, Okay, I will maybe call some hotels, some restaurants, okay, for the booking purpose. I will see how much budget I have, how many friends are going, whether this I'm going by with my friends, okay, or my family or my relatives, okay, or so based on multiple things, we decide, okay, what to do, whether to go to a particular location, when to go, how to go, all these things. So that is again class, okay, part of your EDA, exploratory data analysis. All of you understood till here or not? All of you understood till here or not, class? Perfect. Okay, so let's continue now. Okay. So for this particular purpose in the class, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a particular data set called as Titanic. Titanic for data set. Just a minute, class. One is T. So class, you will find this. You can find this Titanic dataset already in your folder. I think it should be there. I think I uploaded it. Just a minute. You will find a folder called as datasets here in your drive folder. So there you will find. Am I audible, class? Hello? Nitin, please. Achha, Nitin cannot hear. Uh, this one I can use on a real-time dataset also. Okay, but the problem with that is we usually take that dataset which all of you can understand. COVID dataset comes under healthcare dataset. Okay, so there is a possibility. What I've tried that earlier also. Okay, so what happens? What problem we face usually in the starting, the first dataset that I take for the EDA purpose, okay, is that that data set that everyone should be able to understand. In COVID, okay, a lot of you might not be familiar. I am also not familiar completely, okay, with the underlying reasons of COVID. Okay, there are different variants. Okay, there are different kind of waves. Okay, so basically that data will also be there, na. Plus, the problem with that is that the data will be sufficient. Okay, but the number of columns in that will be less. Okay, so let's start class now. Just let us quickly see this data set once. Okay, and what we will do now. We will look at this just a minute. Read this class, this part only. So what did you say, class? The sinking of Titanic is one of the most infamous shipwrecks in the history. Obviously, I guess all of you must be knowing about Titanic. Maybe you might have seen the movie, or maybe you might have read about it somewhere, right? So on April 15, 1912, during her maiden voyage, acha class, tell me one thing. Like by reading this date, April 15, 1912, is something coming to your mind? Any observation about the data? Anything about the work task? Can you use this data anywhere? Is this date relevant to us in data analysis? What is maybe useful? How? What is today's date, class? Nice. That is one of the things, Ranjit. What is today's date? 25th May, right? 25th May 2024. Okay, so can we say that if you're analyzing this data set today, so it has already been more than 100 years, right? It has already been more than 100 years since this incident happened. That means there will be, because once you look at the data now, see the data. So here there are multiple columns. There is survived column, whether the person survived or not. Okay, there is P class. P class means ticket class. Okay, then there is sex column, there is age column. Okay, there is number family column, count how many family members were traveling together. Okay, then ticket column, fare column, cabin column. Okay, embarked is basically location from where the passenger boarded the ship. Okay, so we have multiple columns with us. Now, class, tell me, okay, we have to analyze whether a person will survive or not. Okay, your survivability. This survived column is our target variable. Okay, whether the person will survive or not based on different factors, based on different features. Now, tell me one thing. See, if you're talking about some incident that happened 100 years back, so there will be a lot of cultural differences, right? There is like as compared to today's, right? Cultural differences in the sense, for example, let's say I am saying, I'm just saying this for a let's sake of explaining this concept. Okay, I am saying that as compared to today's world, okay, suppose like try to understand this. Suppose let's say I'm just trying to say a politically correct statement. Okay, like in today's world, what happens? It is like equality and everything. Okay, so boys and girls or male and female basically, both of them have like equal chances of learning swimming, right? Just an example I'm giving you. Both of, male and female, both of them have equal chances to learn swimming, right? Okay, but tell me, like, was this true 100 years back? Was there equality in terms of sex? No, no. Okay, a lot of things were not allowed, a lot of things were frowned upon, right? So there are multiple things that were culturally different. Okay, like first thing key in terms of date, it is 100 years. Dataset is of 100 years back. First thing. Second difference was in terms of your, I would say, uh, in terms of location also, the location at which this particular incident happened, okay, whether it happened in India or Europe or America or Africa, wherever. Okay, so there are different differences in terms of that also. I will explain the way. Just a minute, give me a minute. Okay, so whenever you are analyzing, what I'm trying to say here is whenever you are analyzing, each and everything you have to consider, you have to keep in mind each and every small data, whatever you are getting. Okay, for example, date, for example, location, for example, time of the year. Okay, for example, let's say demographics. Okay, for example, type of incident. Okay, for example, sector. Okay, so there are different things that you need to focus on, that you need to keep in mind while analyzing the data, because that will make a lot of difference. Okay, in your analysis. Okay, so let's continue. The on April 15, 1912, during her maiden voyage, the widely considered unsinkable RMS, okay, sank after colliding with an iceberg. Unfortunately, there weren't enough lifeboats for everyone on board, okay, resulting in the death of 1,502 out of 2,224 passengers. What is the meaning of this, class? Can I say approximately 65% of the passengers died? Can we say this? Okay. Also, whenever you are analyzing, you have to make sure you have to do all these calculations in your mind also. Okay. If some number is there, then you should know the percentage. If you have the percentage, you have to calculate the number. So both of them should be there in your mind automatically always. Okay. While there was some element of luck involved in surviving, it seems some group of people were more likely to survive than others. Okay. So basically, that is what we have to do here, the analysis. What sorts of people were more likely to survive? Okay, this is our class target. This is our goal. Whenever you do EDA, okay, let me explain one thing, class. Whenever you start EDA class, okay, let me write down here. Okay. Whenever you start EDA, okay, so what happens? What happens? There is a goal specific EDA. Also, basically, it comes from for open-ended. So you're given a goal, such as example is what sorts of people were more likely to survive. This is a general question, okay, that they have given us. The second option that we have is class questionnaire की spelling just check. Okay, questionnaire specific area. Specific questions need to answer. Okay, let me give an example for this also. Just give. I think I showed you some time back also. I don't remember exactly. For example, I have this. I can show you this one. Okay. So have I ever showed you this class? This PDF file? Yes, nah, right. Okay. So I have other PDF, 2, 3 other PDF files also. Like I have more, but I cannot share all of them. I guess I will be able to share one. Second. I can share the Zomato one. I can share that marketing one. So I can share 2 more. Okay, I will upload it in the drive folder. Don't worry. After the class. Okay. So here, class, this is questionnaire specific. Okay. So in that case, class, you get some questions from the client that you need to answer. Not necessarily from the client, you can get this question from your data scientist also. Okay. Or suppose not data scientist specifically, suppose there is someone, suppose what happens in the companies. Companies hire data scientists. So as a data scientist, you will be working in both of them. You will be working in data analysis work also, you will be working in machine learning also. Okay. Sometimes what happens in companies, some companies, depending on the type of work they do, type of projects they get. Okay. So they don't hire a data scientist, rather they hire a data analyst and a machine learning engineer separate. Okay, they will work on separate tasks, okay, separate projects. But sometimes what happens, because of the requirement of the machine learning engineer, what they do, the machine learning engineer can ask you, okay, to give answers to these questions. Okay, because these answers of these questions are going to be used by the machine learning engineer to like decide the model, okay, decide which algorithm, which supervised or unsupervised or semi-supervised. Okay, so to decide the model, so this particular EDA, these questions need to be solved. Okay, so depending on the requirement tasks, you will get two types of tasks: goal specific made, which is more a broader approach. Okay, in this case, what sorts of people? So you have to analyze the data completely end to end. In this case, you have to analyze each and everything in the dataset, all the columns. There is no specific, I would say, question in mind. Okay. Second thing is questionnaire specific. In that case, you will have to answer these questions. Okay, so this is completely faster, but the problem with this is that you will not. This is, see, in my opinion, I don't consider this as an EDA per se. Okay, why? Because we don't explore the entire data set in this scenario. You might have to in some scenarios, in some questions, okay, but in most of, like, if you're getting only 10-15 questions, that is nothing, that is not ADA. But if you get, let's say, in like a lot of cases, you get like 100 questions, 250 questions, okay, basically more than 100 questions you will get, and you have to answer all of them, okay, with numerical value. Also you have to give proper this also, your graphs also, graph data visualization also you have to do, okay, in parallel to that. So based on your task, what you want to implement, plus you will get different types of projects in the industry. So let's continue now. Now I'm going to do like a goal specific idea, what sorts of people were more likely to survive. So in this case, class, we will try, okay, to understand data, how it looks like, what all data is there, what all columns are there, how they're correlated, okay, how they're dependent on each other, basically, and there onwards. Okay, all those things we'll study. So let's start, class. Okay, first let me quickly explain the data set to you. Okay, now class, whenever you will start analyzing any data now, so whenever you will get data from somewhere, you will also get something called as data dictionary. Okay, what do you mean by data dictionary? Basically, data dictionary is like an explanation of all the columns of the data. Now, this is EDA. I am covering EDA and C1 together. Whatever graphs I need to cover in EDA, so I will cover inside this only. Data dictionary basically means that whatever columns you have in your data set, you need to understand what those columns mean. Okay, how they are connected, what all like columns are there in the data set. Okay, so let's start. Okay, first column class that we have is your survived column. First column that we have in our data set is your survived column. Okay, that basically represents 0 or 1. Okay, 1 means yes, yes means the person survived. Okay, and then there is your 0. 0 means no, that means the person didn't survive. Second thing, class, that is there is your you can see passenger ID column is there. Passenger ID column, tell me, is passenger ID column relevant to us in any way? What do you think? No. Yeah. So passenger ID column, class, is not relevant to us. Why? It is just a serial number column. Okay. So it is not actual data. Are you getting a point? You can get this thing from index data also, na? Index column that we have in data frame. Okay. So you can drop the passenger ID column. It is not giving any relevant information to us related to the data. When we say if a column is necessary or not, then that particular column should be relevant to the target or goal that you are having. Remember that. So passenger ID is just a serial number. We will drop that. Feature engineering is used to engineer new features from the existing feature. I showed you here now. See, feature engineering is the process of using domain knowledge to extract features from the raw data. As I told, I gave an example yesterday also. Suppose, let's say, not yesterday, last week, I guess. So, suppose, let's say, if I have a column called as date of birth, okay, in the NB data set. So, using the date of birth column, I can extract age now. I will just subtract. Okay, from today's date. That is your feature engineering. When we create new features from the existing raw data, that is called as feature engineering. A feature is a property shared by independent units on which analysis or prediction is to be done. Okay, let's continue now. Survived column we understood. Next is class P class column. P class column is basically a ticket class. Say, for example, this हमारे पास like in flights we have no business class is there, corporate class is there, and your business class, corporate class, and your economy class. Three are there, right? In your flights, right? Same thing happens in your ship also. There are three classes. Okay, first class, second class, third class. Okay, same thing happens in your if you have traveled using train. So train also it happens, right? First tier, second tier, third tier, right? Okay. Now P class is one more thing, class. It is also a proxy for socioeconomic status. Can you agree? Can I say a person traveling in the first class will be from upper class in the society? But here you can say it is written a proxy. Okay, that what is the meaning of that? That it is not a necessity, right? It is not necessary that a person traveling in third class will be of lower class always. Is it necessary? No. Okay, but we can safely assume based on our own experience. Okay, we can safely assume that in most of the cases, a person traveling from third class will be of lower class. We are just assuming this, okay, based on our past experience. Okay, next class is your P class. The next is your name column. Class, tell me, is the name column relevant to us in any way for the survivability? How? Those who are saying yes, tell me how. Abhishek, why do I care whether the person survived or not? Sorry, why do I care which person survived? I just want to see that if a person is surviving, so what all like benefits, what all factors were there for that person? Mamta, Abhishek, I am not a police officer. No, I don't want to identify which person survived or not. We just want to analyze that if a person is surviving, so on all what on what factors the survivability is dependent on. So is the name going to help me in any way? No, correct? Okay, now one thing is there. There are two things actually. Okay, first thing, try to understand, class. Suppose let's say the age column is not there with us. Let's say the age column is not there. Now this is the concept of feature engineering. Let's say age column I don't have in our data set. Sorry, age nahi. Sorry. Let's suppose I don't have the sex column with us in our data set. So will the name column help us in any way? Right? Because you can see it is mentioned na Mr. or Miss or Mrs. or Master, right? So we can use that information to identify the gender of a particular person, right, Shashank? Clear, class? So that is again your feature engineering. So in that case, your name column will come in handy. But in data analysis, for the analysis part of this, per se, we won't require your name column. Okay. For data preparation step in the starting, we can use that. Okay. Second thing, class, that is that suppose I'm just giving you an idea. Tell me, work on that. Okay. Suppose let's say class I am saying that this data set is of India. Now, can you like uh, decide how this name column will help us? Can you come to any anything that you can assume? How will you get region from name column, Ranjit? I'm talking about name. Are we getting anything else from the name column that might be relevant to us? Assuming that the data set is not exact. I'm not saying just India. It happens in a lot of places all over the world. How will you get location, Amit, from the name column? There is another thing that you can identify. Marital status, yes, but not necessarily always. Divya, I use Mr. Harshal Bansal. I am not married. Excellent, Santhil. Okay, when I'm saying India, cultural differences, all those things. Okay, when we are saying India, so there is a very major problem in India. What is that? Casteism, right? Now you have the surnames also of all the people. Last name is coming first. That is fine. But last name you already have, no? Suppose someone is, let's say, for example, someone is, let's say, suppose my surname is Bansal. Okay. Someone surname is, let's say, for example, Shashank Chaurasia is there. Okay. Rahil Hanif is there. Okay. Imran Khan is there. Okay. So there are different people, okay, coming from different, I would say, religion, different caste, right? Okay. Now in India, I don't know if you have, I think you all of you have seen this a lot happening. Okay. That people basically prefer to be friends with people from their own caste. Have you seen this happening a lot of times? Okay. For example, let's say Rahel is there. Okay. Now, in case of any disaster, let's suppose that ship is sinking. Okay. Now I know that Rahel is from my caste only. Okay. So, and let's say Mahesh is not from my caste. Okay. So in that case, who will I prefer to save? I will help Rahil or I will help Mahesh? Like I'm more likely to help Rahil or Mahesh? Rahil, right? So that is what happens. That is also something that you have to consider as a data analyst class. Okay, suppose that's okay. Now this is where your date will also come in handy. Okay, you know that this data is of 100 years back, approximately like more than 100 years back. Okay, and this data is somewhere of Europe. Okay, so what you can do, you can simply do some search, Google search, and you can see how much casteism, okay, and all these things were prevalent in the 100 years back in that Europe region wherever this ship went. You can see that also. You can Google all this information you will find on the internet, right? Okay, and maybe one more thing. I'm not sure whether this data set, I think it won't help also because I'm assuming I might be wrong, but most of them might be that Christian or Jew, right? यूरोप में तो वही होते हैं ना like I might be wrong. I don't have this kind of I'm not good in this. Okay, but I'm assuming that they have Christians or Jews, right? Mostly, right? So there are only two, I would say, caste. Let's say here it is written Allen, Mr. William Henry Allen. Okay, so I'm just saying I don't know. Allen, I guess, is a Christian surname. Okay, and when I'm saying McCarthy, so McCarthy is a Jew surname. Possibly, I'm just giving an idea example. Okay, so you can study about this. Okay, and then you can make two categories: Christian and Jews. Okay, so a Christian person is more likely to help a Christian. A Jew is more likely to help a Jew. Clear, class, everyone? got this class or not? Okay, this is try to understand class. You have to go in depth. You need to try to find information from a data set. You have to literally you have to squeeze out information. Okay, when we say feature engineering is one of the like very important skills for a data analyst to have. Is squeezing out information from the data set. Huh? That is what I'm saying. No? That I'm not sure about this here. This because this data set we are not comfortable. Not comfortable in the sense we don't know about like for example I am not Christian, okay, or I'm not Jew, okay? So I don't know about that religion much, okay? So that in that case what I will do a Google search. I will try to study that, okay, and then I will see that okay how we can use this information to categorize all the passengers into two or three or four or five or whatever categories. But suppose let's say this data set is of India, so we will be able to work on that better, no? Clear class, everyone? So let's continue now. Next column class that we have is your sex column. Okay, sex column is kya hai? That is your basically male and female only. Now there are two categories only, male and female. Okay. Next is class age in years. Okay, age mate is one more. It is written one more thing. Age is fractional if less than one. Okay, and if it is estimated in the form of decimal. Right, Jagdish. Okay. Next is class SIBSP. SIBSP is what class? SIBSP is your number of siblings, or number of spouses aboard the Titanic. Okay, suppose let's say I have four brothers, okay, but I am traveling with only two of them. So in your data set, it will be mentioned two, not five. Okay, I was okay. Now tell me why this number of siblings or number of spouses is important to us, relevant to us. More than siblings, more chances of survival is there. But there is a catch. There is one more thing. Okay. But suppose let's say class, I am the eldest of them. Suppose all my siblings are, let's say, or of maybe teenagers or even younger. Okay, under 15. Let's say. Let's assume, for example, they are my cousins. Okay, they are under 15. Okay, so in that case, it will help me or not? My chances of survival will increase or decrease? It will decrease, right? Because in that case, my preference will be to save them first. Okay, and I asked Jagdish, suppose I am traveling with like two of my siblings, okay, and then they are less than 15 years of age, let's say. Okay, so in that case, my chances of survival will increase or decrease. If I'm traveling with very like younger siblings, it will decrease, right? Why decrease? Because my first preference will be to help them. Their chances of survival will increase, not mine. Getting my point, class? So that is also you have to study. That is relevant in our data set. Okay, so you have to basically that is why I'm saying you have to keep on like you have to take multiple things into consideration at the same time. Okay, next is class Parch. Okay, that is your number of parents or number of children aboard an item again. So class, can we do one thing? Can we combine both of these columns to create a single column called as family? Add them together. Dependents or whatever. Not necessarily dependents per se, because I'm possible. Na? I'm traveling with my parents. Okay, so possibly I am dependent on my parent. So I am not a dependent, right? In that case. Sorry, my parents are not a dependent in that case, right? So we can create a column called as family, combining these two together. Combining in the sense adding these two. So for example, here one sibling or spouse is there and one parent or children is there. So we can combine these two together to create a family column called as 2. Okay. Next is class, your ticket column is there. Ticket number, right? Now tell me, is ticket number relevant to us in any way? Is the ticket number relevant for analyzing? That is what I'm asking now, Mahesh. How it is relevant? Because have you ever seen when you travel from a flight or maybe a train, maybe you might have seen, just by looking at the ticket, your flight attendant or TT can tell the just by the ticket number. Okay, they can tell if it is a business class or economy class, if it is a next seat number, if it is a tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3 ticket, just by looking at the number. No, like for example here the first digit might mean something, okay, second digit might mean something, and so on. So in that case your ticket column will be relevant. Ticket column might be relevant for feature engineering. It is not relevant to analysis per se. It is more relevant for the feature engineering part. Maybe you can find some information from the ticket column. There might be some relation, okay, okay, that you can use, okay, in order to take out other features. For example, let me show you. Let me show you one more thing. If you try to just try to understand that, see class, notice one thing. When the P class is 1, so there is 1 in the starting. The first number is 1. The P class is 2. First number is 2. And the P class is 3. First number is 3. Can you see this class? Understood why ticket column is important now? Suppose, let's say you don't have the P class column in a data set. So in that case, you can use the ticket column to find out the passenger ID. Na? Sorry, you can find out the P class. Na? Based on ticket number, we can say ticket class. Huh? Huh. So if you see first row class is 3, but ticket number is starting with A. So that might be something different, no? That might be, Shashank, that is happening in very small number of cases. If you actually see, if you analyze the entire thing, okay, do some observation in the entire data set, you will see it is happening in some specific number of cases only. Okay, it is starting with A. So possibly that Mr. Owen Harris Brown, maybe that person is a crew member, possibly, no? Also, this is also one thing that we can do, class, right? We know that there were crew members also and passenger were also there, right, on the ship. Crew and passenger, both of them were there on the ship, right? So possibly these people that we can see, these people are maybe crew members, right? That is why they are having a different ticket number. Are you getting this, class, or not? Same goes for this also, same thing. It is possible, no, that this person is someone else. Well, this person is basically uh, specific to something. This 2631 they represent something, maybe a crew member, or maybe uh, someone maybe high class, okay, or maybe some kind of maybe engineer or maybe labor or something, right? crew members will not be charged fare. You are correct in that. Okay, possibly there were some special tickets given to some people. Possibly, I'm just trying to say that it should have directly like rejecting an assumption. Okay, analyze first. Okay, try to acquire domain knowledge. First task of a data analyst is to acquire domain knowledge. Okay, and then proceed from there. No, Mahesh. Crew members, as far as I know, okay, I have a cousin brother, okay, who is this who's in a merchant navy, right? So he is into that. Okay, so he is given a ticket as well. They mail a ticket. They mail, or I think they send it by post. Okay, so he get a ticket as well. Because how will because what happens in this kind of case, as far as I know, okay, what they do is they will book a ticket. Suppose, let's say you have to travel from, let's say, India to Europe. Okay, your ship is going from India to Bombay to Europe. Okay, somewhere in Europe, whatever. Okay, so what they will do, and suppose, let's say, the ship is going from Bombay, and for example, my brother lives in Delhi, so he gets two tickets. Okay, first ticket is from Delhi to Bombay, flight ticket. Okay, and then from my brother has to go to the port from wherever the ship is. Okay, and he will show the ticket. Okay, then only they will allow him to board. Getting my point? Because the people, the crew members who are already there on the ship, they won't know my brother, na? They won't be familiar. So how will they identify? Understood? So entry ticket. Yes, that's it only. Okay. Ticket not for the travel. Ticket for entry. Yeah, I'm not sure. ID card, you are correct in that. ID card is also can be used. But as far again, I might be wrong in this. I don't know much about it. I will ask my brother again, and I will tell you how it works. Okay, but possibly ID card can be duplicated, no? But you cannot duplicate a ticket, right? Got this class, everyone? Okay, so let's continue now. Okay, that is basically your ticket. Then there is a fare column class, basically. Okay. So fare column basically means here how much amount you paid for the ticket. Okay. So right now we don't have see, first thing, right now we don't have the currency. It is in dollars or your euros or rupees or whatever. We don't have that currency with us. Okay. So first thing, we don't need currency. Why? In this specific scenario, why? Because for all, we know that for all the people, for all the passengers, your currency is same. So obviously we will be doing a comparative analysis, no? So we will be comparing them. So even if it is an INR, so how will it matter? Are you getting my point, class, or not? If currency is same for all of them, so even if we don't have the currency, that is fine, right? Okay, but in some cases, you will need currency as well. That is very important. In some type of data sets I have seen. Okay, for example, let's say there is once I was analyzing some data set for a gaming company. Okay, so for example, PUBG is there. Okay, so PUBG is played by all the people all over the globe, right? So suppose let's say I am purchasing something from my end in India, so I will pay in INR. Okay, someone is purchasing something from Europe, so they will purchase maybe depending on the country also. But let's say they will purchase that in euros, right? Okay, so in the data set, I didn't get the currency. I just get the values, just the number. Okay, but I knew. Okay, I was told that the currency is different. Okay, so in that case, what I had to do, okay, I had another column with me called as the country column. Location column basically was there. So from the location column, I took out the country. Okay, from the country, I basically wrote a code, okay, to see the conversion rate. Okay, and I converted them, all of them, into a single currency based on the conversion rate of which date. Suppose, let's say, if I'm saying today, so today is what? I'm assuming today is 83. Rupee is 83 rupees per dollar, let's say. Okay, so that is today's rate. Okay, so what I did, on the date on which the data set was compiled, based on that day, okay, I checked on the internet what was the conversion rate, okay, for each and every currency on that day. Okay, and based on that, I wrote a code completely. It was like what? I think somewhere around 50, 60 lines of code was there. Okay, I created a function. That function was basically fetching data directly from the internet. Okay, the conversion rate on a particular date for each and for multiple currencies. Got it, class, everyone? This is where your Python will come in. This is where your Python is important, because this type of codes will write in Python. So that you also have to do. Okay, this is called as standardization. This particular step is called as, what I just explained you, that is called as standardization. That means that whenever we are dealing with data, so we have to make sure that all the values that are present in a particular column should be of the same type. For example, let's say you have some data about height of trees. Let's say you have some data about height of trees. Let's suppose NB का data था ना हमारे पास. We had the NB data with us. Okay, so maybe for some players the data is in, let's say, meter. For some people data is in foot. For some people it is in centimeter. That can happen, right? So that also we have to standardize it. All of them we have to convert them into a single. क्या बोलते हैं इसको? Single unit. Got this, class, everyone, so far?